morning students. Today we are going to discuss another topic and it's a poem, Another Woman. It is written by Imtiaz Dharkar and this is the B reading of third unit. This is the B reading of third unit and this is a very wonderful poem. It is on the how the women suffer in the how women, especially these Asian countries like India, Bangladesh and Pakistan, these areas, the women, how the women are being treated in the society is being shown here by Imtiaz Dharkar. She has written very well. She is a wonderful poetess. Okay, and she is not only a poet but she is also an artist and a documentary filmmaker. And she was born in Lahore. Pakistan in the year 1954. And she was brought up in Glasgow, Scotland. Glasgow is a place in Scotland. She was brought up there, one of the big cities of Scotland, and she was brought up there. So you can say that she is Scottish also, and she has a nationality of Britain. And here she is a British. You can say. Next, her famous works are Parda, Postcard from God, I Speak for the Devil, Terrorist at My Table. These are the books on poetry that she has written. Apart from this, many more poems are there that she wrote. Many famous poems are there, and she was also awarded with the Queen's Medal. Okay, Queen's Medal. And here at present, she is the chancellor. Right now, she is the chancellor of Newcastle University, England. She is the chancellor of Newcastle. Chancellor is nothing but head of the university. So she is the head of the Newcastle University, England, and she was also considered for the position of Nobel laureate. Poet laureate. Sorry, she is considered. In the year 2019, she was considered for the position of poet laureate. So poet laureate is nothing but national poet or poet appointed by the government. So she was considered. She is not a poet laureate, but she was considered for that position in the year 2019. But right now she is the chancellor of at present she is the chancellor of Newcastle University, England. Okay, who is she? She has nationality of Britain and she was brought up in Glasgow, Scotland. But she was born in Lahore, Pakistan in the year 1954. She is a poet, artist, and documentary filmmaker, and some of her works are here: Parda, Postcard from God, I Speak for the Devil, Terrorist at My Table. That is I didn't write. Leaving Fingerprints. Okay, these are some works. Okay, so the present poem Another Woman is written by Imtiaz Dharkar and she has written very wonderfully. Let us see how is the poem.
So students, this is the poem Another Woman. So let us see what the writer has written. So this morning she bought green methi in the market, choosing the freshest bunch, picked up a white radish, imagined the crunch it would make between her teeth, the sweet sharp taste, then put it aside, thinking it an extravagance, counted her coins carefully, tied them and a small bundle into her sari at the waist, came home, faced her mother-in-law's dark looks, took the leaves and chopped them. Her hands stained yellow from the juice, cut an onion, fine and cooked the whole thing in the pot over the stove, shielding her face from the heat. Here, it's very difficult to divide the stanzas here. Okay, and here if you see the writer, she has written this poem wonderfully. She has written this poem. She is writing on a married woman, and how the married woman in the present society, in the society, not everywhere you can, but the suppressed married women, and how they treat the women in the society, that is being shown here. So this married women who was brought up, who was given into a marriage in a family where she was not cared at all. So what has happened? She went to the market and she bought green methi. The line begins with this: this morning she bought green methi. Methi is nothing but fenugreek in the market, and choosing the freshest bunch. She chose the freshest bunch also. Picked up a white radish. She picked up a white radish, and also imagine the crunch it would make between her sharp teeth, the sweet sharp taste. It is written that when she went into the market, she bought the groceries and she bought vegetables and all that, but she is thinking, when she picked up the radish, she thought the taste of the radish that radish would make between her sharp teeth, and then what happened suddenly? She put it aside. Thinking that it will be an extravagance if I buy this one. What would my mother-in-law will say? and what would my mother-in-law will say? Extravagance is nothing but spending what is more than necessary is extravagance. So she thought that it could be extravagance. So buying a radish is not an extravagance, but in this family, the daughter-in-law has no right. I mean, the daughter-in-law is completely suppressed here, and the mother-in-law and the husband is being, is torturing her, and she was very much scared. So that kind of the suppressed women, it is on completely on the women. You can say this is feminism. So how are the women being treated? Most of in the families, you can see in the present families also, or wherever you go, the males are more dominant. Okay, the males are dominant. So patriarchal society we can see here. So here in this one, she says that she wanted to buy many things, but thinking of that mother-in-law, she keeps aside, and she kept it aside, and she counted her coins carefully and tied to her waist, and came back to her house. And not only that, and when she came back, she has to face the dark looks of mother-in-law. Now the mother-in-law is looking, dark looks in the sense angrily she is looking at her daughter-in-law. And but she suddenly enters without uttering a word, and she went into the kitchen. She chopped them. She took out the leaves, whatever she brought. She chopping is cutting. She cut them, and her hands was completely stained yellow with a cut of an onion and find other vegetables that she brought, and the whole thing she kept on a pot, and she started cooking. And she sat down, and she was cooking on a stove, and there was a kerosene beside her, and she was thinking about her life. She was contemplating on her life, that how is her life, how she was being brought up by her parents, and why they married to this house where mother-in-law every time scolds her. So that's why she didn't even face the mother-in-law. When she entered the house, she just escaped her looking and entered into the kitchen and started cutting and cooking, and she sat down thinking. And let us see what the usual words came and beat their wings against her. The money spent, the curses heaped upon her parents who had sent her out to darken other people's door. The usual words in this is as usual. The mother-in-law started scolding her daughter-in-law and saying that you are very unlucky for us, darken our house, in the sense darken other people's door. This darken refers to bringing some ill luck, bad luck, you can say bad luck to somebody. So that's the thing. And so that is what they were always, this husband and mother-in-law always scolds her and even tortured her. So that's the thing. And regularly they speak bad about her parents. So that's what she didn't like all that, and she has to hear. So the usual words came and beat their wings against her ears, and the money spent, and the money that she's been spending nothing extravagantly she spent, but they were saying in that way. So the curses heaped upon her parents. She started cursing her parents. The mother-in-law started cursing the parents of this girl, and then finally she was bending, and she cooks. She started neglecting mother-in-law's, but because this has become very usual for her. And she crouched as usual on the floor beside the stove. When the man came, she did not look into his face nor raise her head, but bent her back a little more. Nothing gave her the right to speak. So here, when the husband came home, already this woman was sitting and cooking and crouching is nothing, bending a little bit. But when the husband came, she even crouched a little bit more. Even she did not look at the husband. And because the husband is very cruel person here, and he has been torturing his wife, and he always listens to his mother, rather than wife. So that's the thing here. And both of them are torturing this woman, and this is the plight. See, this is the plight of not only these women particularly, this is the plight of the women in the Indian society or Indian culture, you can say more. Not in everywhere or every family, but we can say this now also we can see in many villages that women are being committed suicide because of the tortures, because of the family torture, domestic violence we say here, because of this domestic violence. So here it is written that she crouched a little bit more because of the fear, and she was scared of her husband. She was scared of her husband. That's a completely different thing. She scared of her husband, and nor raised her head, bent her back a little more. Nothing gave her the right to speak. So that's the thing here. You can say the writer has written that she has no right to speak against her. Or she has no right to speak at all at her own house. That's the thing. And She watched the flames. Then see what has happened. She watched the flames and beat against the cheap old pot a wings of brightness against its blackened cheek. This was the house she had been sent to, the man she had been born to, and the future she had been born into. So when the kerosene was thrown, just a moment of surprise, a brilliant spark. It was the only choice that she had ever known. Another torch blazing in the dark, another woman, and we shield our faces from the heat. So here the writer has written that she watched the flames hissing up. She was there cooking, and it has been regularly. She has been, being tortured for a long period of time since marriage. Since marriage, she had been tortured. So that's why she one day, this day particularly, she was looking at the flames, and the flame was hissing up, beating against the old pot, okay, on which she is cooking. And she saw, and near the stove there was a kerosene, and she was looking at the flames, and then there was an arousal of desire. She got a desire that why shouldn't I free myself from this world, okay. And when she continuously looked at that fire, so that was, and here this was the house, and she thought more. This was the house she had been sent to. I mean, how is this house that her parent had been given this girl to in a marriage, and the man she had been born to, careless, very careless, uncaring, you can say. The future, what is the future of this woman, okay, till death she has to suffer in the hands of her husband and mother-in-law. So that's what the future she had been into, and the man she had been connected to, and this is the house she had been sent to. So then finally she poured the kerosene, and when the kerosene was thrown, just a moment of surprise, a brilliant spark. It was the only choice she had ever known. She said that, and when there was an arousal of this desire to commit suicide, she thought and about her future, about her husband and mother-in-law, and finally she decided that she should commit suicide. And finally she got up and threw kerosene on herself, and she lit herself on fire, and a brilliant spark, okay. And she says that, the writer says that she was shining and she was burning herself, and it was the only choice she has and that she had ever known. She thought that this is the only choice to liberate herself from these clutches of slavery, and you can say that torture. And finally, another torch refers to another woman who has committed the suicide, and blazing, that shining in the dark, another woman, we shield our faces from the heat. So the last line is you can say that she has written, like, saying the society that we are shielding our faces from these kind of things in the society. We are covering. If any women commit suicide, then we feel that we cover our faces, we shield our faces, in the sense we neglect these things in our society, which is happening in our society, so that it is our responsibility that we should stop, okay, this kind of domestic violence or suppressing women. So we have to come out of this society where male is very much dominant over female. So that's the thing here. So we shield our faces, and today this girl, and tomorrow another family, another girl. So this is what been happening in these regions, particularly where women are being continuously committed suicide. So that's the thing here. We shield our faces. As I said, that society is neglecting these things. So we are shielding our faces, and next day in another family these things happen, and in their family might be. So people are afraid to speak on such things. So that's the thing. Let us see. This is a brilliant poem written by Imtiaz Dharkar, and the question is that, what does the phrase mother-in-law's dark look suggest? Okay, and dark looks in the sense her fearful looks at her daughter-in-law, okay. And the usual words, came and beat, the same cursing every day, that shouting on mother, so that came and beating against her ears. So she has personified many things. She used literary devices, okay. Personification she used a lot in the poem, okay. So just see that, try to answer these questions, okay. Few questions. If you didn't understand anything, okay, message me in the WhatsApp, okay. I will try to answer your questions. So this is the end of the poem called Another Women. This is Imtiaz Dharkar.